John Harbaugh gave a surprise injury update on a key Baltimore Ravens player that could potentially make an impact during the stretch run, assuming he's back on the field. We talk about that and so much more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Oestreicher. Ravens Wire here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. Appreciate everybody for being here on this bonus Saturday edition of the show, whether you're an everyday or a first-time listener, or if you're somewhere in the middle. Thank you for all of the support. We have a jam-packed episode today as John Harbaugh gave a surprise update on Darius Washington that could bode well for the team, assuming Darius is able to get back out there at some point this season. Then Patrick Queen was talking about the Ravens again, and we'll dive into that as well as the Ravens linebacker group and how they performed without him over the first year plus of not having PQ in the fold. Then finally, we'll talk about special teams being special for the Ravens this season, especially recently, and we couldn't do that without Ravens long snapper Nick Moore back with us. Want to tell everybody first, today's episode of Locked On Ravens is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. You might know Nick for his long snapping prowess, or maybe for his technological prowess on the Locked On Ravens squad show. He's a man of many talents. He's back. Nick, you guys have gone on a little win streak since we last talked on the show. It's been a nice little stretch for you, and I know you guys are hoping to continue that against Cleveland here in Week 11.
Yeah, we are, man. It's good to be back out here, Kev. Thanks for having me on again. We've been playing some good ball lately. So, we were kind of in a must-win situation at 1-5, and I thought the guys we took advantage of the bye week, and we were able to get some guys healthy, kind of get the team back going, and came out of the gate hot against Chicago, and then had a quick turnaround in Miami. Thought we played really well down there, and then this past week, we played really well up in Minnesota. So, we kind of know we're still 4-5, so we still got a lot of football left. We got 8 games left, so we still got to win a lot of football games if we're trying to get to our goals of winning the division, making the playoffs, and taking a run deep into January and February. So we have a lot of football to go, and we're just going to keep rolling, keep working on those little things, and continuing to get better each and every week, and giving our team the best opportunity to win as many games as we can.
Yeah, that's all you can do. One week at a time, and they'll go 1-0 every week is the saying, and this is going to be your second division game of the season and second game against the Browns. I know we talked a little bit about it before we hit record about how this game against Cleveland you'll finish up with them before having a face off against Cincinnati or Pittsburgh once, which is kind of a really interesting schedule quirk. And we'll talk about the AFC North a little bit more in the second part of the show. But I wanted to start off, Nick, by talking about an update that John Harbaugh gave on Darius Washington, kind of a surprise update, but in a good way. Darius was doing work off to the side and hasn't been cleared to practice yet. John Harbaugh made that clear, but Harbaugh said, quote, "The reports have been real positive talking to AD. He's moving around really well. He hasn't been cleared to practice yet, but seems like we're getting close to that point. Hopefully soon he'll be out there practicing." And Darius obviously suffered the torn Achilles injury during the offseason, around that mid-May area. And, Darius is a key part of that defense. Other guys have been stepping up at that safety position recently, but if Darius is able to return it all for the team this year, Nick, how big of a boost do you think that would be?
I think that would be huge for the room. I mean, the guy's been here, I think this is his 5th year here, and he knows our system really well. He came along last year and really kind of defined him as a player last season, getting the opportunities he got in that second part of the season last year, and really showed up in some big moments. I think about the play he had against Houston right there on the goal line on that 4th down stop, and he's been a very, very good player for us for a long time, whether that's special teams or in that secondary room. So I've actually kept a pretty close eye on AD. Obviously, having been the most recent player with the Ravens to kind of go through the same exact injury, we kind of got hurt the same exact way. I tore my Achilles running the conditioning test. He did the same thing. So we had that in common, and I know how lonely and how difficult of a process that is. And so I tried to be there for someone that he can lean on, especially early on when it got difficult. And as it progressed, it gets lonely. The season gets going, teams playing games. You're kind of stuck in that window of like progressing through the rehab and doing each little step, and it takes a long time, and it can be a very difficult thing to go through when you're by yourself. So I tried to talk to AD as much as I could over the last several months, and he seems in good spirits. I mean, I've been watching him. He's let's just put it this way. He's been running on the ground for quite a while. And the first time I ran on my feet on the ground was at 6 months and 4 days after my surgery. He will be at 6 months on Monday, and he's been running for quite a while. So he's making his rehab is insane. Apparently they've updated the protocol since I got hurt and went through that same process. So he's been doing a tremendous job. He's been really attacking that. When you're hurt, that becomes kind of your full-time job is just getting healthy as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And he's really owned that, and he's taken it, kind of head on, and he's hit it. Hasn't seen down in the dumps. He's been attacking the day every single day. And I would love to see him come back, because I know what he brings to the team as far as his play on the field, his physicality in the secondary, his knowledge of the system, and having been around, and his comfortability in the big moments. He's played in a lot of big football games for us, and he's just we have a fairly young safety room anyway, with Kyle and Alohi being a newer guy to the team, and Malaki being a rookie, and Keandre being a rookie. Like, he's kind of that veteran. If you like, he's the oldest. I mean, he's one of the older guys in that, as far as the safeties go. I know we have Marlon and some other guys that play corner that are older than him, but he's just such a great player. He's a good person, and I'm excited for him. Hopefully he gets an opportunity to come back, and he's able to make an impact like he's done in the past. And I think it'll be a really good opportunity for him if that does come for him. So I'm excited for him. And I have a special place in my heart for the guys that have gone through what I went through with Justice and David Ajabo and some other guys, that aren't here or on other teams. It's just such a hard thing to come back from. And for AD to be able to do that at such a rapid pace is truly remarkable. So I'm praying for him. I'm thinking about him, and I'm hoping that he can come help us win some games down the stretch.
It'd be great. And I think a lot of people do forget Kyle's just 24 years old. He's already
Mhm.
accomplished so much, but Ardarius being 26, I mean, Keandre is 23. Obviously, Malachi is a rookie, and Alohi's
Yeah,
28. But
20. He just turned 22 yesterday, man. So
that's
he's a young boy. He's a young bull.
so Ardarius being 26. I mean, out of all the guys who were here before the season started or went through the process or whatnot, obviously Alohi came in mid-season. Alohi's 28. Ardarius
Mhm.
technically is the veteran in that room. So
Yeah, he
you're right.
is.
It's really key and really big. And again, just to clarify it, Ardarius was not practicing. He was on the
No, he was
adjacent
not.
field going through the workout.
Yeah,
So
he
again,
was doing
Harbaugh has
his.
said,
He was
yeah,
going through his rehab process. I mean,
right.
everybody that's gotten hurt, you got to have. I mean, when you tear your Achilles, you got to learn how to walk.
Yes.
Basically, start over as you did as a child. And you're constantly doing stuff to try to, you got to build up endurance in the muscles, and especially in the injured leg with the calf and the quad and the hamstring, getting all that stuff working again. He's been doing all that stuff. He's been attacking it unbelievable. So I'm happy for him, and hopefully one of these days it'll be truly remarkable if he can, if he can come back. Because like I said, I didn't get cleared to play until 10 and a half months. I did, however, practice. I started practicing just before 9 months. No, just before 9 months. So I started practicing in OTAs. That would have been 9.5 months. So I started
Yeah.
practicing, and then I got cleared during minicamp when I did my physical during minicamp. So about 10.5 months.
Yeah, the recovery timelines are interesting because it does vary, but I mean, this would be on the
Hmm.
quicker side. And even like I remember Cam Akers about 5 years ago, I think at this point,
Hmm.
he tore his Achilles in mid-July, and then he came back before the season ended, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy how the timelines can work, but you mentioned your own recovery process, and, we've talked about it. I know you've gone on other shows and talked about it, about, those first couple of plays being back out there on the field, those first couple of weeks being back, even your
Hmm.
year being back on the field for the first time after that injury. And if Ardarius returns this season, I'm sure that he'll be going through some of the same stuff you went through there. Can you kind of talk about like what he should be expecting or what your experience was like? And maybe you've already had a conversation with him about it. I'm not sure, but what would that be like for him and like the expectations that, because fans are going to have certain expectations, but I think it's important to understand that, like, again, it's not like you just go back out there on that field and you're like, boom, 100%, let's go. Like, there's still another process.
It takes a long time. I think, the hardest thing for me was people don't really realize when you're going through the rehab process, everything in that environment is controlled. You know exactly what you have to do, whether you're running in a straight line or you're running a cone drill or you're changing direction. It's all scripted. So there's no reaction. It's like, hey, we're gonna run 10 yards, cut, go 90 degrees, run the right, cut, go 90 degrees north, cut, whatever. So everything is controlled and you can really focus on your foot placement, how you're running with your feet on the ground. You're more aware of that stuff because that's all you're focusing on is the actual running part of it. When you're playing football, man, the running is the last thing on your mind. All you're just reacting to especially at DV, like you have to just react and you have to just slam that foot in the ground. And that's kind of one of the things I talked about with him. This was, I don't know, probably a couple months ago, maybe earlier in the season. Just the hardest thing for me to come back was like when I started doing the football stuff again. For me, I go out, I'm in the, playing long snapper on the punt. I'm having to block. I got to set backwards. I got to be able to put my foot in the ground to stop a dude that weighs 280, 300 pounds and trust that that foot's going to hit the ground. It's going to be strong. It's going to be firm. And I'm going to be able to withstand this guy running at me. And that it takes time. Like that's a mental thing more than a physical thing. Cause at that point, the strength is there. It's just, you have to remind your brain that, hey, I can do this. Like my foot's going to be fine. My Achilles is long been healed. It's strong. My calf's good. Everything's good. And it takes time to get comfortable being back out there. I mean, for me personally, like it wasn't until week 8 last year when we actually went to Cleveland and played in Cleveland. One of the things I was so worried about was stepping on another guy's foot with my injured leg and how is it going to hold up. And so this particular play in Cleveland, I step on Sanusi Kane's foot with my right foot, which was my surgical foot, fell down, got guy landed on top of me, got up, ran down the field, got off to the sideline. Once I cooled down, I was like, that was worst case scenario for me. Like that was the moment where I was like, I'm back. Like I handled that. I looked like a buffoon out there because I was on my butt, but my foot was fine. My ankle was good. Everything was good. That was like the moment where I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm confident. And then the rest of the season, I felt like I played really well and I was, back to not back to your old self because you never really can get back to what you were like before that when you have such a significant injury. But I was the new player that I was gonna be. I knew at that moment that was I can do it. And from there on, I felt like, I played really well. I didn't ever worry about my foot. I don't worry about it anymore. It's just part of who I am. I had to adapt some of my play to fit that, my deficiencies that I had from that injury. But I think over time, you learn the new you is kind of what I was taught, going through the process. Like you're going to be a new player, you got to figure it out, and you have to be comfortable with that. And it takes time to get there. And I think AD and anybody that's gone through this injury, whether talking to Justice and Ajabo and Tyus Bowser when he was here, it's a hard thing to go through, and you're not the same on the other side of it, mentally or physically. So it takes time to get comfortable with that and who you became, and trust that you put the work in throughout the entire rehab process to where when you go back out on the field, you're 100% the new version of who you are.
I'm so happy for our Darius, though, and hopefully he'll be able to get back out there on that field and help the team, like you said, win games this season. Coming up, though, we're going to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Patrick Queen had some stuff to say about the Ravens again, but we're going to talk about the Ravens linebacker group as it currently stands right now as well, and the defense as a whole. So stay tuned. Plenty coming your way on Locked On Ravens. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I've been using PrizePicks during both football Sundays and NBA tip-offs. It keeps every game exciting. I like picking my favorite players like Lamar Jackson and Nikola Jokic to see how my predictions play out. The new Stacks features a game changer. You can now pick more on Steph Curry's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Back here at Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher with Ravens long snapper Nick Moore, still talking Ravens football with you. Appreciate everybody for being here, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day, your first listen each and every single day. We have 5 days a week plus more of the Ravens coverage and content for you. And Nick, we're talking about defense here now, but you played a little defense of your own on Sunday. You got a look, and it was not a small tag. It wasn't like, oh, you got him around the ankles and he tripped. You got in there. I mean, how did that feel? Because I the second it happened, I said, this is the path to the Pro Bowl right here. This is where it starts.
It felt good to get back in there. The only negative was the NFL did not give me credit.
No, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah, so I found out on Tuesday that I did not get credit from the NFL. I was a little upset. Jake was going to tackle him regardless. I think that was kind of the argument, that he was going to get tackled to the ground no matter what. But I actually got a nice little. So I don't know if you saw the actual clip, but I'm like running down, their guy blocks me out of the way. That's how Jake was able to come in and hit him.
Yeah.
And then I get thrown out to the right, and then Teddy's right next to me. He like pushes me back to the left, right into the guy. So I was able to
then you got on there, yeah.
Yeah, I got him pretty good. So it was a little pinball action there, but I almost got the ball out too. So that would have been pretty cool to get a forced fumble. But that's my first. I had a tackle last year, but it got called back for a penalty against Denver. But that was my first like real hit since my injury. So my neck was a little sore the next day, but other than that, it felt good. Like it was fun to like get back there, because it kind of been like the piano on my back, because I hadn't had that tackle since coming back from my injury. And I had just been like, dude, I'm putting myself in good positions. I'm just,
Right.
Other guys are making plays. Like I'm not gonna, I can't get upset if our gunners are doing what they supposed to do. Like Keon's been playing great. Keandre's been playing great. Tez was doing great. Like those guys are making plays, and TJ Tampa, like I can't compete with their speed. So if they're getting down there and making the tackle, like there's nothing I could do about it. And Jordan's been punting the ball really effectively. So guys we haven't had a lot of opportunities to make tackles. So, I get frustrated because I really want the tackles, and I was averaging 4 a year before I got hurt. And now it's like I have 0 last year. I have a goose egg still this year, but it was fun to get back in there and kind of get that camel off my back. Cause now I feel like, okay, I didn't get credit from the NFL, but my teammates saw what I did. The coaches gave me credit for it. So now it's kind of, all right, I got one. Now we can just not worry about it anymore and let them kind of come to me. So I'm excited to see where we're going.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? The NFL might not have given it, but it's in all of our hearts
It's
that you
there.
got that
It's there.
tackle. It is Nick Moore's tackle.
Exactly.
No one can tell me different. No one can tell you different.
No, they
It's
can't.
your tackle. It's your. So hey,
Yeah.
emergency linebacker Nick Moore, maybe if if there are injuries.
Once upon a time, yeah, that would have been years ago when I didn't run a 5.5 40.
Hey, maybe the 5.5 40 can still get you in there for a snapper. I don't know. It could happen. Well, speaking of linebackers, Patrick Queen departed the team for Pittsburgh last offseason. Obviously, he's had a handful of games against Baltimore, and there'll be a couple more coming up in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. But PQ went on the Christian Coons podcast, who obviously, I'm sure you know him. And
shout out to my boy Christian.
Yeah, so he went on his show and talked about his free agency experience. Again, this was last week. PQ made these comments, but I just saw him a couple of hours ago, honestly. So we're talking about him. And PQ talked on his free agency and said, quote, Pittsburgh was calling. I wasn't really paying it no mind at first. Then they kept calling. And I'm like, you know what? I get to play Baltimore twice. Why not? I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. Talked about how the black and gold looks good on him, the whole 9 yards there. And it felt like, Nick, PQ going there kind of put some more juice back in the rivalry, at least for the fan bases. It felt like that's what it felt like. You know, PQ made a lot of comments last offseason. You haven't played Pittsburgh yet this season. You haven't played Cincinnati either. Again, it's been a weird schedule quirk with the division this year. But have you kind of sensed a little more juice in the rivalry over the last year since PQ's gone there, or is it just kind of more of the same? What do you think?
I mean, I definitely feel like the rivalry's there. Obviously, I played with PQ here for 4 years. I understand why the Steelers wanted him. I felt like he was the Steelers killer, especially in those last 2 years. I thought he had some really good games against them, 22 and 23. So no surprise that they wanted a talented player. I mean, he was a first round draft pick. Played at LSU, won a national championship. Was a fantastic college player. Was great for the Ravens. When he was here, and I think he's a really special player. I really do think he's a one of the better linebackers in the NFL, and obviously, he's got whatever feelings he's got. Free agency is difficult for everybody, and the teams have to do what's best for them, and the players have to do what's best for them. So it's a difficult time for everybody. I think I think he's happy with where he's at, and for him as a personally, and as a friend, I'm happy for him that he enjoys being in Pittsburgh, and he's been able to kind of get the love that maybe he felt like he wasn't getting here, and good for him. I wish nothing but the best for him personally. I just hope that they lose to us twice a year, or 3 times if we have to play in the
Yeah.
playoffs. But he's a talented player, and I think the rivalry between the Steelers and the Ravens, has since I've been here, I mean, it's a physical, it's a physical rivalry, man. Every time we play those guys, dude, they come out swinging. So do we. And I think, it's like the similar mantra to the cities. It's a blue collar, it's a working man's game. It's a physical, hard nosed defense, special teams, running the football. It's just an old school style football matchup every time we play them. I'm interested to see how it plays out this year with they have Aaron Rodgers now and DK Metcalf, and you know I'm I'm excited to see. I'm excited to play them. I love going up against them. They have one of the top special teams units in the league. Their coach has been there for got over 2 decades now, and I think he does a really good job. The players, they love playing special teams. They love playing special teams against us, and they always draw up some funky, quirky stuff against us, and it gives us a really good test. And it forces us to play our best football against one of the best units, and it's always fun playing in that game. I tell everybody my favorite place to play is Pittsburgh. I think the renegade that they do in the fourth quarter is arguably one of the most electric moments in all of sports, and it's awesome to go on the road like that in a hostile environment, and all you got is your brothers on your team, and the guys you rolled in with on the bus, and it's your backs against the wall, us against the world, and it's a fun game, and it's a fun environment to be a part of, and that rivalry has a long history of being one of the best in all of sports. So I'm excited to get to them. Obviously, we got to get through this week against Cleveland, and then we got some
Right.
games coming up with the Jets and the Bengals, and then we're in the thick of it with the Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, and the Patriots and the Packers, and then finish up in Pittsburgh. So that's going to be a hell of a finish, but I'm excited for it. And I think PQ and their whole defense, they got Hall of Famers left and right on that defense. So they're a great unit, and I think that it's going to be a fun matchup.
Yeah, they just added Asante Samuel Jr. as well, and I
Yeah,
know that
exactly.
they probably wish they were playing a little better right now, but you can't deny the resumes that a lot of those guys have.
Hmm.
So it's funny because Ravens and Steelers, I think that goes into a separate category just by default. But I mean, what best, Nick, playing in those AFC North matchups, one of which you'll be playing in on Sunday, just
Yeah.
feels like a whole different game. So we'll talk about that a little more coming up in the final part of the show, as well as the special teams unit for this. I want to hear about Jordan Stout, want to hear about Tyler Loop, and obviously you as well with that special teams battery. So be sure to stay tuned. Plenty coming your way on Locked On Ravens. First, the show is brought to you by Gametime. NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans, cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I love zone deals too. You pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. Down the Gametime app, create an account and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Returning here, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher and Nick Moore still talking Ravens football with you. The Ravens have a big Week 11 matchup against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. We got the injury report. Mike Green not out there on Thursday or Friday. We'll see his status. He's not ruled out, but that could be a big loss in the pass rush department. Nick, I know those guys have stepped up recently. Mike's been playing really well, and obviously team brings in Draymond Jones, who had some comments over. It was asked if he met you, and he said he hadn't yet at the time. Now, apparently, you told me before you guys have met and talked a little bit now, but he had some fighting words about the SEC. For those that don't know, Nick, very passionate Georgia Bulldog, obviously
Yes,
alumni over there. And Draymond went to Ohio State, and Draymond said, quote, Big Ten's where the real players come from. SEC, that's old news. That's back in 2010. 2020, this is the era of the Big Ten. I wanted to give you a shot to respond to that because I know how you feel about the SEC. I know it holds a place in your heart. I know Georgia does too. I mean, I'll tell you, man, it's funny because I think it's how you talked about it with us on the show before and other places about how the college rivalries in the locker room still you kind of get some bets and some competition out of it too. So it's not like it's gone away.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he's going to be passionate about playing in the Big Ten. If I got to play Iowa and Iowa State, and Illinois every year, I'd be pretty passionate myself. I try to do this. I want to be nice about it. Right?
He's your new teammate. He's your new teammate.
Yeah. He's a great guy. And I've gotten to talk to him a little bit. Haven't brought this up to him yet. I just laughed that, he said the 2020s are the Big Ten and they've won what? Who won national championship? Ohio State? I feel like the SEC dominated the 2010s and the latter half of the 2000s. We haven't really, we didn't do anything last year, but okay, one season. Okay, what about the other 5? What about the last 15? Come on, man.
Definitely you have to report back on how the conversation with Draymond goes. I'm sure it'll come up eventually at some point.
I got to make sure I got Roquan on one side and Derrick on the other side and Marlon behind me when we talk about who's better than the Big Ten or the SEC.
Man, yeah, you'll have your contingency. I mean that SEC contingency is going to be there. So, all right, let's talk about special teams because I think that, and I've said this all year, Jordan is having an incredible season. You guys as a whole, like the entire special teams unit. Obviously we've seen Keandre force fumbles and really make an impact there. Tyler's hitting kicks left and right. I mean, snaps, I must say, Nick, are pretty good. I just have to say it. So
thank you.
Can you talk about the contingency that you guys have and how you guys have grown as a unit, what you've kind of seen, obviously from Jordan over the course of his career, but just this season from you guys and how it's been a process for you to get from, week 1 to here we are now in week 11?
Yeah, I think I think Jordan in year 4, he's much more comfortable out there. He's kind of mastered this punt that he's been doing, this boomerang. And it's been very effective. He can hit it a long ways. He can kind of place it away from the returners. Some of the returners are afraid to, like the guy in Miami wouldn't even catch it.
Yeah.
He's been a weapon for us. He's flipped the field so many times. I can't even count the number of balls we've had inside the 20 and inside the 10. It's been remarkable. But also we've had some, we've had some really strong play from Keandre, obviously being arguably the best addition we've had on special teams in a very long time here. I think he's a special talent. I think the things that he's going to be able to do on special teams is going to be insane. I mean, he is unbelievable. The guy is a freak. He's a little bit crazy, but he is built for special teams, man. That guy loves it. He's out there. I remember a couple weeks ago we had John had special teams captains stand up, during the team meeting before the game, the night before the game, to like say what, a couple words to what the special team unit is going to be like this game. And I stand up, and Jake Hummel stands up, and then Keandre's like over in the corner, like, I'm ready to talk too. I'm like, dude, you've only played one game. Calm down. Get over there. But that guy, man, he just loves it, dude. He takes a lot of pride in it. I think he's making the absolute most that you could possibly make of your opportunity. And that guy solidified himself as a freaking dog. I mean, he runs down on kickoff, pops, gets the ball out, hits I mean, that guy makes almost every tackle. It's unbelievable. And he makes the other guys around him better. Like his effort, his enthusiasm, his physicality, it radiates to all the other guys, and he forces them to play at his level, and he brings that to the table that we haven't had, quite honestly, in several years. Since I mean, I can think of Anthony Levine having that same effect when, my first 2 years when I played with Levine, and now him as a coach having him back. I mean, I think the guys are feeding off that. I mean, Keon Martin's playing crazy. Tez is playing crazy. TJ Tampa's going crazy. Jay Higgins was balling when he was playing. Jake Hummel's been a stud in special teams for a long time, and I think I would say he is our best special teams player. And he has leadership. He's got experience. He's been around. He's done that, but he's still new to the system. He's only been in it 1 year. Then you got the Charlie Kolar, who's been making play after play on kickoff. I mean, him and Keandre,
Yeah.
those dudes are lethal on kickoff, man. Charlie gets the best jump off the ball anybody I've ever seen, whether that's punt rush or kickoff cover. He's been doing great. Trent Simpson's been playing out of his mind on punt and kickoff. Keaton's been doing great. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but Keaton's returning kicks. He's playing running back, and he's running down the field as a gunner, getting holding calls. Last week got a holding call, or forced the guy to make a hold on him. He's been doing a lot. I mean, we've just had so many guys. Justice Hill's back in the mix, playing returner. Ollie's been there. He's been a great special teams player for us. I mean, we have so many guys that just want to be out there, and they just want to freaking, you get one chance on special teams, one play at a time, and it's just that one shot mentality that these guys have been taking, and it's been so much fun to be a part of. Like, you got to bring that juice every single day. The practice, hell, our practice squad guys they're making us better. They're the guys that are forcing us every week. On Wednesday when we're sore from the game, those guys are ready to freaking rock, dude. We're in pads. Those dudes are popping. They're forcing us to be better, play better, and practice better. And it all starts with them, and putting us in the best position possible to go into Sunday confident, knowing what to do, showing that you can do it, and being able to go out there and play at your absolute best. So, we just all around the unit has been a freaking blast to be a part of this year. I think he's getting so much more comfortable. Last week got a lot of opportunities. I know he would have loved to make that 56-yarder, but 4 for 5, in a game where offense wasn't, we were moving the ball, but we weren't putting, getting the ball in the end zone in the first half. And for him to come out and continue to knock down those kicks and get those points, those 12 points in the first half, or the first half plus, we scored on that. I think at a field goal on that first drive in the second half. So for him to be able to go out there and go 4 for 4 on those kicks is really great for our offense, because they're continuing to build on that momentum. They're doing enough to get us in position to get points on the board, and then eventually we're going to break it open. And that's kind of what we saw last week. So, everything works together on this team, and defense has been playing great, giving ourselves a chance to be aggressive on punt return, and punting has been great to get the ball down inside the 20 to force the team to go the whole length of the field against our defense. And we've all been feeding off each other. We're continuing to grow and get better as players and as a team and as a unit. And so I'm excited for where we can go, because I feel like, for us on special teams, man, the sky's the limit. We have so much talent and so much want to, that you can pretty much accomplish anything if you just try really hard and you know what to do. And that's what we have right now. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And again, like, you have guys like Tyler and Jordan that, are opening up opportunities that if they weren't as good as they are, what they've been able to do, your team's not going to be in as good position. So I think it's really
Yep.
awesome. The team is rallied around. They've got the win streak. You guys are on the right track. And obviously you got a big game against Cleveland coming up on Sunday. But Nick, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for hopping on, spending some time with me and talking football. Before I get you out of here, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you got going on?
No, just right now, just Instagram at Nick Morse 046. Got some podcasts in the brewing, in the making. So got a local one coming out with what is it? The Turkey Bowl, the high school. It's
Oh,
Calvert Hall.
yeah.
So got some stuff coming out with that. So be on the lookout for that coming up in a couple weeks, and some other stuff brewing. But we'll be sure to plug that in when the time is right.
Beautiful. Keep it in suspense. I love it. Keep it mysterious. Well, the link to the Instagram will be in the description down below. Nick, I appreciate you again. Thanks so much. And thank you to everybody who watched and listened today to Locked On Ravens. Coming up tomorrow, we'll have our pregame episode and then the watch along instant reaction squad show, the whole 9 yards. So be sure you stay tuned, like and subscribe, video form, audio form, and I'll see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.